Welcome to the Neon Noise Podcast, your home for learning ways to attract more traffic to your website, generate more leads, convert more leads into customers, and build stronger relationships with your customers. And now, your hosts, Justin Johnson and Ken Franzen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Neon Noise Podcast, where we help you decode marketing and sales topics. My name is Justin, and with me, I have my co-host, Ken.
What's going on, Justin?
Not too much. What's going on with you?
Not a lot here. Just looking forward to chatting a little bit about audiences today.
Audiences, awesome. I don't think that we've talked that much about audiences. It's a exciting topic. We get a lot of common questions all the time on how big of an email list do I need to start sending out emails. I have a lot of Facebook friends, but I cannot seem to figure out how to sell to them. What am I doing wrong? How do I use social media to market my business? Ever since we started using social media platforms in email marketing campaigns, there's been a focus and also a big confusion, I think, around building audiences and audience sizes. Just should I build an audience? How do I build an audience? What is the value of building an audience? And how big should my audience be? So today, we want to touch on audiences, why we should build one, how large of an audience you need, and just some things that you can do to build your audience. So Ken, why do we even build an audience in the first place?
It's a great question. There's a ton of power in reward that comes in building an audience. This is a collective group of people that want to follow you. They want to engage with you and your brand. They want to hear from you again in the future. They value the things that you say. Building an audience has probably become one of the most powerful things as of recently as a business owner you can do. So many businesses, we hear this all the time, they've grown from word of mouth. I mean, I love to hear that when I'm meeting with clients and say, what's some of the main ways, marketing things, advertising things you've done to get to where you are today. And word of mouth has been one of the biggest components, but that can only take you so far.
Yeah.
Maybe
it's hard to scale word of mouth.
It is. But until now, this is what I want to talk about today is how we can actually scale word of mouth. So, some of these businesses, they say word of mouth, they have a product or service that people they know, their friends, their family can use. And when they first started that business, those friends and family said, yes, I will buy from you, because they want to support their friend or their family member. And the fact is they find out you do a damn good job at what you do, and they're extremely satisfied with your product or service. So much, yeah, exactly. So much to the point where they begin telling other people, their friends and family, about you. And this continues, and you see business growth. I mean, that's word of mouth in a nutshell, right?
Yep.
This is pretty much the same thing we see now, but we can scale this much larger using social media platforms and other online tools. There's lots of people on these social media platforms, and they, just like offline, we have groups of friends that they share information with. So whenever you influence one of these people, you've created the possibility that they'll pass along that good experience to their group of friends.
Right.
No, I just said good experience. This does work both ways. So this is gold when you do a spectacular job. Exactly. On the other hand, if you don't provide quality of work, or you have a tendency to maybe get create some frustration, you might want to shy away from some of the strategies we're going to talk about.
Stay away from social media.
Exactly. So, Justin, have you ever heard of Kevin Kelly's 1,000 True Fans?
Kevin Kelly's 1,000 True Fans. I have not. What's that all about?
All right. So this is an essay. Kevin Kelly is the co-founder of Wired magazine.
Okay.
And he wrote this essay back in 2008 Then it was, I think, a little bit ahead of its time, not ahead of his time, but ahead of its time. We'll include a link to this essay, but it's a must read. Everyone that's listening to this episode of the Neon Noise podcast, I'd highly recommend that you take. It's not a huge essay. There's actually a revised version, which is where I'll send the link to you, that of the original essay that appears in Tim Ferriss's most recently released book, Tools of Titans.
Cool.
Kevin Kelly wrote it specifically for that book. And so it does a fantastic job of explaining what I'm about to probably screw up. But the following concept here, I won't do it as justice, but it hopefully will give you a good snapshot of what you can further learn from that essay. But here we go. Think about it. You are going to be creating a group of raving fans that love who you are and what you do. Right. They're going to tell others about you and your company. They're going to develop this loyalty to you, and they're apt to purchase from you whatever they have a need for, and they're going to do so without questions. You hear stories like this all the time about businesses that raise their price. We did this at one point in time as well. You get this paralyzing fear when you're thinking about raising your pricing. You're thinking, if I raise my prices, all my customers are going to jump ship. They're going to revolt. They're going to ditch me in a second.
Right.
And sure, some customers are going to do just that. You're going to lose, if you raise prices to a noticeable rate, you're going to lose some customer. But in doing so, you identify who your true fans are, who your really good customers are, the ones that truly value the product or service. And those are the ones that are going to stay. And they're the customers that you really want as well. They're probably more closely aligned with your target buyer persona. Whatever reason that they're a better fit for you and your business. Now, I'm not saying go out there and gouge your client base to find out who loves you the most, because that's further.
Which one of you guys like me and which one of you don't?
Exactly. Okay. No, those that are successfully raised the prices. They've done so within fair market value. So what they found is sometimes they're on the cheaper level of their competitors, and they're probably offering just as good of, or if not better, service. And so I just went down an alley there. That's not the true gist. The true gist of the previously mentioned Kevin Kelly's 1,000 True Fans, though, is not so much, only raising your prices, but really creating what we're going to call true fans, raving fans. In his essay, he notes that all you need is 1,000 of these individuals. Now, some people might think 1,000 is a small number. Others might be like, holy cow, 1,000 is an unreachable number. But you'll read through this essay that the 1,000 is a number. It's a benchmark that you can equate lots around, but it's just a benchmark number for the purpose of conversation. 1,000 individuals that will follow you to the edges of the planet, right? Cool. They stand behind everything you have to say. They'll purchase the next product you write, or product you create, the book that you write, the service that you come out with, without question, because they believe so much in what you do. And the service that you provide cannot be matched. You are irreplaceable in their eyes. So, Justin, can you think of any individual or company that you are a true or raving fan of?
True or raving fan? I'm going to stay off of a football topic because we don't agree on that. Yeah, let's go. Okay, so I'm a huge barbecue nut. I purchased a Big Green Egg, which is basically it's like a Komodo style smoker. Probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and pretty much anything that Big Green Egg puts out, I would say that I'm a raving fan of, and so are probably the 100 to 150,000 people that follow them on social media.
Exactly. So their product, in your eyes, is superior than all others.
Yep. No question.
And you've bought into the fact that they as a company, that they have this identity with in your eyes that cannot be matched by anyone else, and therefore you follow them. You open their emails. I'm saying this very assumptively, but you open their emails. You follow their social media posts. If they came out with an egg car that was shaped with wheels and things along those lines, that you would probably at least consider buying that thing, right?
I'd go take a peek at it for sure.
Exactly. And that's a perfect example. You are, quote unquote, one of their true fans.
Yes.
You
no
probably
question.
do you own more than their egg product, the actual egg?
Yeah, I own probably too much.
Okay, you don't have to
So
divulge
I own the egg. Okay. And then there are what they call egg accessories.
Nice.
So I own quite a few accessories. So yes, I mean, if they were to come out with, some different new accessory, I would absolutely be interested in purchasing that.
Fantastic. Perfect example of what a true fan is. And so what we're looking at doing, why build, why do we want to build an audience in the first place? Because what they've done, the egg, is the company called The Egg? I'm not familiar with.
So they're actually called Big Green Egg.
Big Green Egg. Okay.
Yep.
So Big Green Egg has done such a fantastic job of creating a product, getting it into Justin's hands, and then continually engaging him with, I'm guessing, communications to let him know about what are they called? Extensions?
Accessories.
Excuse me. The
Yes.
accessories that go with this, that he's bought more and more from him, because this isn't, what you bought there isn't something you're going to buy again for a while, right? The main unit itself,
I guess it depends on how crazy you are, how much of an egghead you actually are.
Nice. Is that what you're considered as an egghead?
Yeah. So that's the one that, once you join the forum or any of their social media sites, everybody calls each other eggheads. And I said from the very beginning, I said that, I'm going to buy this smoker and I'm not going to consider myself an egghead. However, you meet people on here and everybody's sharing recipes and all that stuff. And, am I an egghead? Yeah, I suppose.
Perfect.
It's,
so
it's
they have a community that you're a part of.
Yep.
And in construction of that community, which has no direct tie to revenue, they've coined the term accessories. They've coined the term. Well, I'm gonna say they coined it, but they're using the term. And then eggheads that you identify with. You're buying into that community, and therefore it's an awesome example. This folks is a perfect example, more so than I even expected to get out of this question. So I'm really liking this. This is a true example of a true fan. And so you think about some of the things in life that you purchase, that we go about some of the buying decisions. My wife, she's a runner, so she will only wear Asics running shoes. She finds it has the best arch support. I can't talk today. But also as far as the number of miles she feels she can put on those shoes, comfort, both training and during races. And, her running partner, the other woman that she trains with and runs with, is a Nike person. And so they identify themselves as those particular types, of consumers so myself, there's some thunder in the background I hear there, huh?
Yeah. We've got a little storm going on in Florida right now.
Perfect.
So,
So it's not always sunny in Florida, right?
It's not always sunny in Florida, guys.
It's always sunny in Philadelphia, though. That's what Danny DeVito says. So on my end, I'm a golfer, and I like my ping irons. I bought a set of pings about 10 years ago. I will buy another set of pings. Why? I just love them. I just love them a lot. And I've always liked ping irons. It's something that my purchase, I'm not a ping head.
Yeah, but you're committed to ping. You're not going to go out if somebody comes out with, a different set of irons, or you receive that information, you're always going to go back to ping.
Yes.
You're
without a doubt.
probably not going to, go over to one of the competitors and choose to try their stuff out.
No, not at all. But I question though, in this example, if I'm a raving fan or just I prefer Ping product, right? Because
Right.
I would consider you to be a raving fan,
Sure.
a true fan of the Big Green Egg, where I think I'm just a fan. I'm going to talk about that here in a second. But I think there's some different levels here and how we grow through. And so I don't engage with Ping on a regular basis. I don't visit their Facebook page. I don't.
Yeah.
If someone asked me what type of clubs, what's that type of irons that they should buy, I would recommend Pings in a heartbeat. I would even say, here,
Right.
try hitting my irons. Whereas if I were to come up to you and say, Justin, I'm buying a new smoker, what should I do? You'd probably go along the routes of, you'd be crazy not to get this, and here's all the reasons why. And
100%.
yeah,
No question. Yep.
sure. So there's some different levels of a fan. And so with what we just talked about here, having 1,000 true fans, 1,000 eggheads, that's what you want to shoot for. That's the reason why. When you have that, you literally you've created a community that's going to share information. They're going to recommend you. They're going to be the best salespeople that you could ever imagine for your brand and the products and services you provide. And once you do that, it's like having a word of mouth campaign on steroids.
Yeah. No question.
So let's touch in here, because the other question we get all the time is how big this audience needs to be. Now, we keep mentioning 1,000 true fans, and the size of the audience is important because we need to have enough fans to make an impact. But quality is definitely going to outweigh quantity all day, every day of the week, right? So you can go out, you can build a huge following on Twitter. Let's say after 6 months, you're getting started. After 6 months, you're able to build a following of, let's say, 25,000 followers. You've made it, right? You are 25 times the number of people we just talked about regarding Kevin Kelly's 1,000 true fans, right? No.
Maybe.
No. Not likely. Why? We missed the mark here a little bit.
They're not raving fans.
Right. They're just following you,
They're
right?
fans.
They're followers. I mean, I wouldn't even consider them a fan at this point, right? So
No, because they probably wouldn't even recommend you.
No. I mean, we see it all the time. I've looked at a post that a tweet I put out there, and it's been retweeted, let's say 45 times. And I'm like, sweet. I wonder how many of these 45, it had to be at least visited 45 times. If somebody retweeted it 45 times, and I'll look at my analytics and see that it's visited 6 times. I'm like, wait a second.
They didn't
People
even
are
look at it.
Retweeting shit they're not even reading. And it happens all the
time.
Yes. And so you're like, okay, is that good or bad? I mean, it's like they're redistributing they're helping me with my content outreach, but they themselves aren't even reading my stuff.
They're not even interested in what I'm saying.
To what level? So yeah, you gotta really look at and find out and see who is a true fan. So developing a true fan isn't something that's done overnight. It's not like it'd be, think about this. Would you ever walk up to a stranger on the street and say, hey there, I sell awesome stuff. I'm looking for true fans. Can I sign you up? By the way, as a true fan, you're going to have to love everything I say, everything I do, promote, even brag about me to your friends and family. And when I come out with something new, you have to buy it no matter what it costs, and you have to love it instantly. You want to sign up right now with that? No, you would never. Of course not. No one would ever say yes to that, right?
Right.
In order to create a true fan, you have to begin building a relationship with them. And so it might come in the form of a small purchase or even them beginning to follow you on Twitter. Over time, they'll become bigger fans and eventually become a true fan. So like you said, when you first bought your egg, you're like, I am not going to be an egghead.
I'm not an egghead.
But you eventually became one, right?
Yeah. I mean, and really, it was just a matter of time before that happened. You get more engaged and they send you more information, and, it's not really necessarily even a trust factor there or anything along those lines. It's just, you're interested in their product. You're interested in what they have to share. You're interested in how they can make your experience different, how they can make it better. And, eventually you decide that you're now an egghead.
Nice. No, it's awesome. And like you said, it began somewhere and it continued on. So,
Yep.
Just like the relationship we have with our best customers, it takes time to build that trust. It takes time
Right.
to develop that relationship. So with that being said, you might have a huge audience by numbers, but not have that many true fans. The quality of that audience is the key there. Building a quality audience is going to take that time and effort. So what you have to start with, you have to start with that following. You can't just go up to those people on the streets and creep the hell out of them by being so forward in that, right? And so whether it's that purchase or getting them to follow you on Twitter, that's the first step there. But the key is to continue to provide the value to the relationship. So you made mention they continue to send you things and communicate with you, and that kind of began the process of you becoming more and more of a fan, right?
Correct.
Right. And so they were continuously satisfying your needs. They knew that you bought this egg and that you were going to use it, and they obviously want you to use it as much as possible because that's going to promote your love for the product itself, and then what recipes and different things like that. Talk to us a little bit about some of the things that they began sending you.
It was pretty cool. So when I had signed up, I think I signed up for an email newsletter or something along those lines pretty early on after I purchased the egg. And what they did was every 2 weeks you received a new recipe via email. So you would go in and, obviously this was just a way to get me engaged and involved in social media. They're sending you out recipes. So once you send once you receive the recipe, then you're going through and you're, probably going to cook whatever that is. And then you're going to hop on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and you are going to engage with other members of the community and say, hey, I just made this recipe. This is, here's some pictures of it. This is how it turned out. Here's some modifications, some different stuff that I did with it, and it gets you engaged. So they did an awesome job with that from my standpoint. And, obviously once they come out with any new products that are going to help me with, doing any type of cooking, then I'm interested in all ears.
Perfect. Awesome. So let's jump into before you get struck by lightning.
It's getting pretty crazy over here.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds pretty wicked, man.
We haven't had rain in about a month, so it's welcomed.
I'm sure. So let's jump into some tips for building a bigger audience. So I think we say this all the time, but the first thing you start with is your buyer persona. This is the blueprint of the person that you want to become your true fan. So building an audience composed of your buyer persona or buyer personas, this is going to lead to creating an army of true fans much quicker than if you try concentrating on speaking to everyone.
Right.
People that you can connect with, you've identified you can connect with, how you connect with them, and the content that you create is specifically for them. Yeah, your fast track in building your army of true fans is done much quicker when you've identified your buyer persona. So if you haven't yet, to go backwards, do that, and then start this process. I think that outside of identifying who you're properly going to target, the main ingredient in this entire process is awesome content. Wouldn't you agree?
Create awesome content. Absolutely. This is the quickest way to make an impact and create new followers that will eventually become new fans. It's just creating awesome content. No one ever shared that shitty blog post that is basically the same as every other blog post that has been written. Nobody runs up to their buddy in absolute excitement and tells them about an article that they just read that they didn't finish because it had no clear direction and they forgot how they originally began reading it in the first place. Bottom line, create killer content. We have a episode, early on, I think it was 6 or 7. I think it was episode 7 on creating remarkable content.
Next on the list, build your platforms and make them awesome. If you don't have your platforms, your social media platforms, your email marketing platform set up just yet, do it. Which platform should you use? Focus on the ones that are most fitting to your buyer personas. If you're going to try covering all of them right out of the gates, it's going to be exhausting and tough to keep up with. Choose the top 1 or 2 platforms, maybe 3 if you're feeling ambitious, that you think you can dominate, and go dominate them.
The storm is the storm's getting crazy over here.
Once you have those under wraps, venture out and then see what other platforms or places you can build an audience from and develop those true fans. One of the other items here to touch on, don't forget about the audience you already have. These are people who already do business with you or have done business with you in the past. Your friends, your Aunt Edna. They might not fit your buyer persona, but they likely might know people that will. So communicate with them. Ask them to share your messages with their audiences, and specifically people they might think or they think it might find it interesting. So let's face it, this is your Aunt Edna. She loves you. She'll do it.
Aunt Edna will do anything for you.
For sure. Number 5 on tips to help build a bigger audience. Consistently share information with your audience. You have this killer information, this remarkable content you created, and you have this audience that have said, I want to hear from you. Don't go silent on them. Being quiet's not an option. Not only are the things that you create important, but share things by other people, created by other people that you think they will value. Share the things you create, blog posts, videos, infographics, ask questions that you think that they're going to find some value in. Don't try to pitch or sell to them on every blog post. I always think there's a couple different schools of thought out there, but you do want to come up with a mix or a ratio that between the different types of posts that you send out there. So we'll include links to a couple of these, but one of them, the 30-60-10 rule, this would mean every 10 posts that you would put out on any one specific platform, 3 of them should be content you create, 6 of them should be curated content or content other people created, and only 1 should be promotional content asking them to buy something. Another school of thought is the 80-20 rule, which we've all heard of, but this is where 20% of the content should be about you and your brand. 80% of the content should be other interesting content that was created by someone else. So 2 things here to note. 1, establish a ratio and think about it. 2, and then stick with your baseline formula. But 2, I think it's important to note that everything that you share doesn't have to be something you've created. And there's you want to share that of others, and that's going to help your content be shared by other people as well. So you really just want to bring value, that you are a thought leader in your industry, that you have researched, read, and you share with not only the things you create, but what you read from others that you find interesting and you want to pass along to your audience. So next on the list here, engage with your audience. Ask them questions. Post polls and ask them what they prefer best. Answer their questions. So if don't ignore a response and try to open, leave some of these questions open-ended. What would you think? Or give me some examples of the best uses you've had for my product. In your instance with the egg, Justin, what are some of the best recipes that you've ever cooked using the big green egg?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that works. It works great because it gets a ton of engagement. People are, they've got over 100,000 people on there. So, I mean, you can just imagine that, if somebody's talking about something that, maybe they've tried or they've tried it and they haven't liked it, then, you're getting all kinds of engagement there. It's great.
All right, folks, just noting a little technical difficulty. Justin was cut out. I think he lost power during this electrical storm that some of you might have heard through the recording. So I'm going to continue the remainder of this podcast without him, just to wrap things up for you. Number 7. So we're in the middle of the tips for building a bigger audience. Number 7, always provide easy ways for your content to be shared on the social media platforms. you've seen this lots of times. Blog posts have share buttons, and I would suggest having those share buttons present as much as possible throughout all the content of your website. Just makes it much easier for a single click. Somebody's reading something, because you know what? We hope that people come to our content, the fans, when they're coming to our website. We want to make it easy for them to be able to share that with their audience as well. So use those share buttons. Makes it super simple to allow your fans to share with their platforms as well. Make it real easy for everyone to connect with you by displaying your social media URLs, handles, usernames everywhere you can. Cross promote on other platforms, include them in your email signature. So that way, I mean, I think an emails as a signature is one of the most valuable components of real estate that is so underutilized. And so even if it's just in your signature, throw in your Twitter handle, throw in a link to your Facebook fan page, or your Facebook company page, and just give people the opportunity to know where they can connect with you and learn more about what you have going on. Gather email addresses on your website. We touched on this in a previous episode as well. The email address is gold. When you've received their email address, you are one step closer to having a true fan. This cuts out all the noise on the social media platforms, and now you have direct access to the less noisy inbox. Sure, you're still gonna have to deal with the spam filters and other emails in there, but in the end, that trust you have to get to the point where they'll provide you with an email address is a clear sign that they are becoming more and more of a true fan. And so make it easy to gather email addresses and capture that information on your website through landing pages, or if you want to have some pop-ups of sorts on certain pages of your website. Next, you want to continue building, communicating, answering questions, finding valuable content to share, creating marketable content to share. All these things should be done each and every day. There's no end game here. There's not a point in time where you're going to quit this process. You're going to either choose to continue to grow your audience or sustain your current audience. But if you let off the gas, you're going to lose that audience. So you have to show up every day. This is a long play. It's not a short-term process that's going to yield immediate results. But if you do focus on quality over quantity, if you do show up every day with value, and you share as much knowledge, success, information, guidance as you can, you're going to bear fruit on this process, on this for a long time. In this instance here, the juice is definitely worth the squeeze. But I figured I'd throw that out there just so everyone knows that immediate results won't happen. It will take time to build these followers into true fans. That pretty much wraps it up for this episode. My apologies for the technical problems where we lost my co-host, Justin. We hope today's conversation about building an audience will help you in building yours. Be sure to check out our show notes at neongoldfish.com/podcast. We'll include some links to some of the episodes we referenced in our conversation, along with the essay by Kevin Kelly, that 1,000 True Fans. Until next time, this is Justin and Ken with Neon Noise. Make it a great day.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Neon Noise Podcast. Did you enjoy the podcast? If so, please subscribe, share with a friend, or write a review. We want to cover the topics you want to hear. If you have an idea for a topic you'd like Justin and Ken to cover, connect with us on Twitter at Neon Goldfish or through our website at neongoldfish.com.